Good afternoon. The November 15th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust will be in order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from November 1st.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, voting please. Next item is a consent docket, several items.
Move the consent docket subject to individual consideration.
Second.
A motion and a second on the consent docket. Are there items to be considered or discussed separately?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just point out that the item on your proposed schedule for 2012 it has been built to match the City Council's planned schedule. Also, we're asking you for permission to pursue an operating agreement with the Oklahoma Earth Bike Fellowship at Lake Stanley Draper. There is a similar agreement between the Parks Department and this organization at Bluff Springs Park already, but not with us. This will permit us to pursue a joint grant opportunities for that exercise and recreation activity at Lake Stanley Draper.
Is it going to? Do we know exactly where it's going to supposed to be? It says near Post and 89th.
Yeah, the many years ago when the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust and the City of Oklahoma City made a determination that motorized and non-motorized riding needed to be restricted to specific areas. Right. We established a motorized area and a separate non-motorized area. This would be the non-motorized area that they're referring to, and it may be all of it or part of it. It's yet to be determined.
Okay, so it's an area this is part of that same plan.
Yes.
It's just we never have designated a specific area for the bicycles as opposed to the.
We have a designated area. We worked with this group and other mountain bike groups at that time to try to form a formal agreement, and it fell apart, whereas it came to fruition with the motorized area.
Right.
So there is a trailhead there, but there is not any formal operating agreement with a mountain bike group like there is with the motorized group. This is an attempt to move that direction, and they have to coalesce in a stronger way than they have historically to form that, and this is a step in that direction.
Couldn't be more difficult than the motorized people faced when we had to put two organizations together to do that.
Correct.
Couldn't be any harder than that.
Right.
Do we propose to operate this one the same way we operate the other one, where they control it and they are the ones that collect the money and all the other that goes into it?
The current approach would be that we would use the city permitting process with the dealer licensees that could sell those permits. They buy them wholesale from the city and sell them retail, so we get our money up front. This group could become a dealer licensee if they chose to do so. They don't have to, but
well, hasn't the other model been pretty successful? The one
yes.
we're using with the motorized people?
Yes.
You know, I have an opportunity to observe that a lot of times on the weekends, and not this past weekend, the weekend before last, there were people everywhere, campers. That whole area was just covered with people that was on some kind of a motorized event back there.
There's been some lack of cohesiveness among the different members of those various groups that use the non-motorized area. It's a little different to what we have with the motorized area. So we'll just have to go through the process.
I mean, they have a different philosophy, or the other guys didn't like each other until they learned to like each other.
I think it goes with the order and the fees that they have to pay to ride. This being a distinct, separate area than the general trails area within the city.
We'll do our best to bring them together.
Well, I would think the model that we've used with the motorized, which was much more seemed to me that was a much tougher situation. I mean, and the motorized people were doing a lot more damage than the bicycle people were, and yet we were able to get that together, and it's been, at least appears to be pretty painless to me in terms of how it works.
Works very well.
I'd like, you got to emphasize to them that that's the example they should emulate.
Some of the dealers that sell motorcycles stay involved in the motorized club, and that provides a cohesiveness and a transition in leadership that helps a lot too.
Well, I would tell you, somebody that lives out there and uses the lake, what we've done with the motorized people has turned a nuisance into an asset for the lake. I mean, it's a very, very big success story as far as I'm concerned, and there's no reason that the bicycles couldn't be the same way. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the consent docket. Are there further comments? Hearing none, voting please. Consent docket's approved. Next item is the concurrence docket. There's a couple of items on that.
Move the concurrence docket subject to individual consideration.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the concurrence docket. Are there matters to be discussed separately? Hearing none, voting please. Concurrence docket's approved. Last item on the regular part of agenda is an item for individual consideration concerning warranties on equipment or guarantees on service, I guess.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Now, is there discussion? Hearing none, voting please. Resolution is adopted. New business. Comments from trustees, staff, citizens.
Mr. Chairman, if any of the trustees are interested, I have copies of the amended complaint in the Choctaw and Chickasaw case I can pass out to you after the meeting if you would like a copy.
I suspect that we will have more, that happened so late we didn't have an opportunity to get it on the docket, but we'll put it on the agenda at the next meeting, I suspect, and talk about it in some detail.
We can do that, yes.
Nothing else? Hearing nothing else, we're adjourned.